Okay, we want to welcome our listeners to this week's broadcast and excited that you're tuned in with us here. It's raining outside, but it's warm and dry inside, so we're going to enjoy the podcast here this morning. Today I've got guest CeaAnna Kerr. She's an IFBB pro in women's physique. She's also the co-owner of Studio C, the fitness center, 24-hour fitness center here in the city, and both my wife and I have the privilege to be members at. We really love the environment and just everything to offer there, and so she's co-owner of that with her husband, Chad, who's right now in preparation for his competition in Toronto coming up in the next probably 7 or so weeks. So it's great to have you here, and I just want to thank you for being a part of our studio. And this is going to be very low key. We're just going to talk to each other and hear what's new with you and what you have, some significant things that have happened in your life, and I think our listeners would love to hear the path and different things like that. So CeaAnna, welcome to our program here.
Thank you so much. Awesome to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Now, CeaAnna, where are you from? Where's home for you?
Originally, well, I would say Saskatoon.
Okay.
Saskatchewan. I lived about 20 years of my life there.
Yep.
But I was actually born in Medicine Hat.
Okay.
From there, I moved to the island, just out of Victoria, between Sydney, Saanachton.
Okay.
Till from 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And then 10 to about, I don't know what year in my life, 25 or
Yep.
so, in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And then from there, well, about 27, because then from there I moved to Estevan,
Yeah.
where I met Chad.
Okay, yeah, you
So-
betcha. So is your family mostly still in the same area, Saskatoon, Medicine Hat area, or they've moved kind of all over the place too?
I have a couple sisters now left in Saskatchewan,
Okay.
but my mom just moved now to the island. So
Okay.
pretty much everybody, most of my family now is
Yep.
in BC.
That's awesome. That's great. You betcha. And you currently work at SAS Power, right? You
Yes.
work at SAS Power?
Yes.
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah. How long have you then lived in Estevan? How long have you lived in Estevan?
It'll be about 19 years
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
You came straight from Saskatoon and worked at SAS Power, or was there a few other things in
Yeah,
between
well,
that?
I met Chad, and him and I did about, it was a year and a half long distance
Yep.
relationship, and then he was the one with the better job, so I wouldn't expect him to
Yeah.
lose his job and come to Saskatoon, which is hard to find jobs sometimes in
Yeah.
Saskatoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I left mine and came to him.
Yeah.
I didn't have a job. I just did various little jobs here
Yeah.
and there off the start until I got on with SAS
Yeah.
Power. So now I'm in procurement, which is in the office.
Yeah.
So we do
You
all
betcha.
the buying. So
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is cool. And was what, about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago that you guys opened up the gym here in town?
yeah, 2.5 now.
Studio C, the
Yeah.
24 hours. I remember seeing pictures online of the building being gutted and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff too. And it's pretty cool when you look at something that hasn't been developed yet, but you hear the dream. And so sometimes it can be fun trying to create images of what this thing will look like. And I think what you guys did, you did a great job of constantly taking different pictures and updating things where you almost see the vision starting to unfold. And I think often what it does, it creates an excitement for anticipation maybe of what's next. I'm a person that likes to see change all the time. I don't like the status quo. I like to see things always shifting and moving, and that's something both you and your husband have done just a fantastic job with the gym. It's always evolving, always things going and things like that. Was it easy?
No. It was one of the hardest things actually we ever have done, and most stressful. And I
Yeah.
think too, because we do work a full-time job.
Yep.
So to take on renovating, and even though we had some contractors, but we did have to do a lot of cleaning, vacuuming. I was always there vacuuming, cleaning every day, taking out garbage, going to the dump,
Yeah.
helping with contractors, permits. Like, it was just back and forth stuff between us contractors and the landlord, and it was the most stressful thing we did. We were almost like, what are we doing? We thought we were
what
in
did I get
over our
myself
heads.
into?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
pretty crazy, but it was neat to see it slowly over time start coming
Yeah.
together. And once
Yeah.
it was opening day, we were like, wow, like we still couldn't believe from what it went to opening
Yeah.
day. It was pretty incredible that it came
Yeah.
together.
I think sometimes where our listeners can often relate to is, and sometimes they wonder, because whenever you step out to do stuff, I even found in my own life that it's not easy. And sometimes the misconception out there can often be with people, well, that's simple. What's so hard about, stepping out and building something and putting something together? And I think oftentimes people want the end result, but they don't realize the work and the toil that it often takes on people to actually get it to that point. I've made a statement many times, and it goes like, the process is just as important as the end result, because it's the end result we aim for, but we don't realize that process is key in it all. And that's why I asked you about that, because it isn't easy, and people don't recognize when people step out and follow their dreams and create what they want to create and build what they envision to build. They see the end result and they don't see the process that happens. And sometimes I think the misconception often can be, well, that's just simple, anyone can do that, but they don't realize that it's not simple.
Yeah.
And it takes a toll, and there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of things that a person's never anticipated, and I think your gym is a really good example of pushing through and actually seeing something happen, and that kind of stuff. I think that's great. I just love the atmosphere you guys have created there. Let's talk about bodybuilding for a little while here. I think it'd be good, because when did you get started, or why is it always an interested in competing and fitness and that kind of stuff, or is it relative something you just kind of fell into? What was the process there?
Well, my background was 16. I was 16 when my brother was really heavy into cycling. He was on the Saskatchewan cycling team.
Mm-hmm.
So just seeing him into it, it got me interested in it. So I started cycling, just doing my own thing. Sometimes I'd go on smaller rides, which smaller rides to me are 30K, 40K rides. Well, that would be small.
Ride.
That would be small to him, because he's used to doing 100K rides, especially with the team, because he's gone to nationals and everything. So they do long rides. So I was mostly, I'd go after school, got into doing it after school every day, 30K, once in a while 40K. That was my kind of limit, what I liked. So I just did it for me. So the first couple of years, once I got out of high school, I was still always into cycling, but then I started a little bit of weight training, because that's what he would do with his team. So he kind of took me to, back in Saskatoon, it was the field house, and I got into it. And then I saw there was a lady bodybuilder was there training clients, and I just thought she looked phenomenal, because I liked her curves, I liked her muscle, and she still looked to me very feminine. She was very pretty, but I liked her athletic look, and I liked that little bit of muscle. So I approached her, and so she said she'd start training me. So then from there, she took me to my first real gym in Saskatoon. So then that's when I was 18 and I became a member. This is my first contract I signed, and I became a member. And I absolutely fell in love with it, and just started weight training, but also I was cycling, because I love it. I love doing cardio. I like the endurance. I just like, the fat burning side of it, but also I like the muscle side, the weights. And to me, it's healthy. You're promoting health and wellness for your body. So to me, I fell in love with it, and then slowly just being more in the gym atmosphere, I started learning what competing is. I started volunteering with the Saskatchewan Association at shows. So then it was about 3 years of volunteering and then into training. Then I decided to do my first show in 1993.
That must have been interesting, for looking at the sidelines and aiming, and then actually stepping into it for the first time as a competitor.
And that's what I can totally recommend to people who are getting into the sport, or they want to get into competing. I always try and tell anybody who's a newbie, go and watch a show first, so that you know what you're getting into, because a lot of people don't realize what it takes or what it is, and they don't know how hard it is. But if they could go see a show and they could see the body types, the genetics, and watch kind of how the judging is, and how the judges judge which bodies and what types, how conditioning is a big part. So for people to go and see it, it opens up their eyes to me. So I can't recommend enough people go watch a show first.
I remember when I was in the military, I was stationed in Winnipeg, and I've always liked to lift weights, but I always did home stuff, and I was always too intimidated to go to the gym, because I thought everybody's way bigger, and I'm going to look like I'm lost. And so what I did is I took up powerlifting, and how I got into powerlifting at that time, I'm not in powerlifting anymore, but what got me interested in it was actually showing and watching compete. Watching people compete. And I volunteered. I helped, be a spotter, on the bench for the bench presses. And I was really blown away by the amount of weight that people were pushing. And that kind of attracted to me, because I've always been a person that always was hindered by my own obstacles and didn't think I could push through. I thought I could never do that. And so powerlifting for me at that time was one of those things that I thought, I want to push through that. I want to see if I can start lifting and pushing some weight. And then it gradually moved to actually just going to the gym just to lift weights and have fun. And I realized how good it was for my mental stability, even just doing that exercise and being a part of that. And I could push over that intimidation factor. And I wasn't there to impress anyone anyway. I was there because I had some goals and I had some things I wanted to put in place. And I think sometimes that obstacle of, well, I don't know anything. And I think watching and being a part of it, just observing, almost gives you that, hey, I can probably do some of that. I could learn that and stuff like that. And so that must have been huge for you because your first competition, when did you decide that, okay, this is something that I actually want to do? So you had your first competition, and no doubt that probably was a positive experience for you, and somehow something triggered to say, maybe this is what I want to pursue, or how did that come about?
Well, I just by going and help volunteering at the shows, and then I knew it takes a little bit of time because it takes time for your body to make gains. It doesn't come overnight. You have to stay consistent. Consistency is key.
Yes.
You have to keep going to see results. So that's the biggest thing. And so after the first 3-4 years of working out, I was like, you know what? I felt I was ready. So, and yeah, I was nervous, super nervous because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm glad I did it because it made me really enjoy it. And then I went 1994 and then just kept going after that. And then here I am today, still have been competing 26 years, so and I've done it's about 40 shows now between amateur and pro shows now. So and that's a lot of shows. So
Absolutely it is.
A lot of prepping because when you prep now for shows, you need about 4 months at least of commitment.
Yes.
To diet down.
And I don't think people realize that part of it either. You don't just lift weights and then go to a show with that. There's a lot of preparation and purpose and decisions and changes and shifts all through that to get you ready to be on that stage.
Yeah, it's a process. A lot of people don't realize what you look like on stage is very hard dieting and a lot of cardio, and also we have to do mandatory poses. I'm in physique, so we have mandatory poses, and then we have to do another routine. So we actually have to do 2 routines for the judges. So it's a lot of work even practicing your routines.
Oh, I can imagine that. And not only that, but even for our listeners, when it comes to bodybuilding competitions and that kind of stuff, there's a variety of things. It's not just one aspect. There's many different aspects to the show and the competition that maybe some of our listeners don't realize. There's definitely, I think bodybuilding's known for the men's physique and the big guys on stage doing their poses and things like that. But that's only one facet of it.
Yeah. Oh, there's many classes now, especially now they just keep opening up more.
Yeah.
So back when I did it, there was just men's bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding. That was it. And then it transitioned, women started transitioning into what we called fitness. So then I tried to do fitness, but fitness, I only tried a couple shows down in the States. That was 1998, 1999, America's Fitness Pageant on ESPN.
Yeah.
So I got flown to Miami and got to participate on TV in those, but it was too hard because I'm a non-gymnastics person.
Yes.
So fitness was more they're wanting gymnasts because they want the they want the flips and everything in the air.
Yeah. Sure.
So these girls did amazing routines, but then they also have to do the side where they have to show their physique in swimwear because the judges want to see the body.
Yes.
So you're judged on your physique, but also on a routine.
Yeah.
So for me, it just didn't suit me. So then after that, it evolved. Another class came out for women called Women's Figure, and that was just on showing your physique. That was it. But we're way smaller than bodybuilders. They want it totally to look more like a fitness woman.
Right.
So you're more like an athletic fitness woman where you got some muscle, but you're very feminine.
Yeah.
So then after that, then it evolved into once I turned pro in figure, they came out with Women's Physique, which is a cross between figure and bodybuilding, but you're smaller than bodybuilding, just a little bit bigger than figure.
Yeah, that's right.
But you have to be very dieted down, and we have poses we do different than bodybuilding because we have to have open hand. They want to be elegant, and our hand positions have to be open hand, and we have to point our feet, and it has to be very elegant posing.
Yes.
Again, you're in a swimwear because they have to see the muscle definition of the body. So you're being judged on your shape, your body shape, they judge from head to toe. So they'll judge the structure of your shoulders and your arms and your waistline. They want a tiny waist. They want the glutes. They want the legs. So you're judged on your physique as to how basically athletic, feminine is a big part. Symmetry is huge because you have to have no body part they really want out. Like they don't want huge quads, no upper body, or huge upper body, no legs.
Sculpting,
right?
almost,
Yes.
right?
So it's almost like you are sculpting your body in the gym. I always tell girls, you got to think of it trying to be like a statue on stage. You want to be this perfect body statue that is it's appealing.
Yeah.
And once you start going to shows and seeing it, you do notice the physiques that are appealing that the judges do pick is always ones that are very symmetrical.
Yeah, that's right.
And for us women, it is femininity is a huge thing. So we do like the little waists. You do want them to still look like a girl, right? You want that feminine structure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, you've had some really interesting successes, and one has been you've had the privilege to go on the Olympia stage. Now, I don't know if our listeners are that familiar with it, but that's the premier of the premier of the whole bodybuilding. That's where the professionals come to compete, and when you make it onto the Olympia stage, you've made a mark already, and you've had that privilege.
Yeah.
You've been on that stage, and what was that like? Or even the invitation to go. I mean, to even, I was saying to one person here a little while back, the invitation to go already is enough that you arrived almost in your sport, because that's the Grand Masters, that's the show of shows. People aim all around the world to make it on that stage, and you've had that privilege. What was that journey like?
Yeah, the Olympia is huge because people don't realize when you're an IFBB Pro with IFBB Professional League, that's the only way you can even try to make it to Olympia. So the Olympia we have is, people got to realize that's the stage that Arnold was on. So Arnold Schwarzenegger does have his own shows, but it's affiliated with us. So we have to be in that. You have to be an IFBB Pro within our league to even try and make it to those shows. And the Olympia is, you have to win IFBB Pro show. You have to be a winner of a show to make it there. And that's hard because you're against the world. You never know at pro shows who's coming from around the world.
That's right.
And any of the other pros. So it can be, you can look your best, but somebody else from another country could come and
it was even
wipe you out. So
is that discouraging sometimes when you, for instance, take us to a little bit of the prep. You're invited to go Olympia. You know you're going to the stage of all stages, and in that prep, has there ever been where you've self-doubted or thought, I don't know, this is probably too big, or did you feel this was your moment?
I felt really good. Like, I know I'm just myself, genetic-wise, I'm a smaller person, a tiny person, but I don't ever let that, because I know I'm a smaller person genetic-wise with muscle compared to some of the other girls, but I don't let that discourage me because I am who I am, and you always have to be like, I'm going in being the best I can be, and sometimes the judges reward you, and the biggest thing in our sport is conditioning. They want to see the muscle lines, they want to see the body fat very low, they want to see that muscle up there on stage with low body fat.
I like what you said, that you wanted to be the best you can be, and I think sometimes, I don't know, we can be our worst enemies because we look around us and we compare ourselves with other people. It almost seems natural to do that, to compare us to other people and to be comfortable in our own skin, our own prep, our own work, and to be able to walk on that experience knowing I'm happy with myself. Because I think it's hard. I don't know, I've never competed. I think it would be hard when they're judged on how you look. And all of a sudden, maybe you didn't score the way you thought you did. And do you have to work through some of that stuff, or are you prepared for whatever?
Yeah, it took me a while, and I think it takes everybody a while to just not let the head games get to you. And you got to always not try and compare yourself to other people, because they are who they are, you are who you are, and all that matters that day is what the judges, who they like, and it's a judge sport, so we never know. It's out of your hands, so I think you really have to put that mentally through your head that it's out of your hands, and just go in and be the best you can be, that day, and whatever happens because it's not in your control. And what I like about women's physique is the camaraderie backstage is awesome. Most of us, because we've been in the sport for so long,
Right.
like a lot of us 20 plus years, we've put in pounding iron and working out and doing the cardio. So and a lot of them we're all around the same age.
Yeah.
A lot of them are moms, with children and stuff. So everybody is just a really nice kind of gab session backstage.
Yeah.
So the women all really get along. We encourage each other, and it's never any, hardness backstage. It's all like really, really good group of women.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed my time with the pros because I enjoy that backstage moments with everyone, and we just laugh, have a good time.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what it should be about.
I love that aspect, because sometimes I think we can go at something so hard and so determined that we're not. Yeah, I've found in my own life with goals that I've set sometimes, and it's like it's easy to take your focus and get discouraged very quickly over stuff. And so that's why I think it was great for you to share that part. So you're at the Olympia stage, and what's that like to get the invitation and then actually be on that stage?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. Like, I never would have thought in a million years I would be one of the top pros. So when I went, there was only 28 of us in the world that day on the Olympia stage in my division in women's physique. So I have to be just grateful that I was one out of 28 in the world that
get
year.
that, because you have to be invited to that, don't you?
Yeah,
you don't earn a spot. You get invited based on
your winning, and then you get a big contract sent to you in the mail. And it's really cool because it's an Olympia contract.
Yeah.
And they fly you there and take care of you for your 4 days you're there. So you have to sign that, saying basically that you will show up. They expect you to show up, and then they have your events every day where they expect you to be, which is, normal. They just want you to attend whatever events you have to. And you have so many fans. They have a Meet the Pros night, which is great, the night before you compete. And you wouldn't believe the lineup of people, thousands of people lined up to see the pros. It was phenomenal. It felt so surreal because it's the world's biggest fitness show
Yes,
ever.
it is.
It's the biggest, and it's been going on for over 50 years. And so now I think it's upwards near 300,000 from around the world come that weekend to enjoy the fitness show. So it's incredible because when you're there, you meet people, they can't even speak English, but they come up to you and they just want to get a picture of you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or a picture because you're a pro, and they look up to pros.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of these people might not even work out themselves, but they follow the sport because they like it, and they like people that look, fit. So it to me, it was pretty incredible just to have people coming up to you and shaking your hand and wanting a picture with you.
Yeah, that's
and
right. Yeah.
Sometimes the language, you don't even understand each other, but you know what you're there for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it was incredible. It was a very unbelievable feeling. You just
I can
felt
imagine.
like you felt like you were a superstar for the weekend. It was really neat.
Well, it's like it's the NHL of fitness, right?
Yes.
So I mean, people follow you, people look at them, and like you say, they're there to see you and connect, and the whole entourage with that as well, and things like that. So on the stage, like getting ready, and
that
must have been incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was pretty neat. It was neat to walk out of that Olympia, the Olympia you're behind that, It was pretty incredible. It was
Nerving at all?
Yeah, it was. It was very nerving, but you just have to. Sometimes I always have to just tell myself, calm, take some deep breaths before I go out, get in your zone, and you kind of just zone out and be in your own little moment. And usually, because I do have anxiety, so I do have to tell myself sometimes I breathe deep before I go on, and just tell myself I go in this calming mode, and everybody's always like, "Oh, you're so calm," but I have to get myself to that moment before I walk out.
That's interesting you say that, because again, I think we can have the perception that everything is just easy, and I think that's the thing that I like to focus on, because nothing is easy. And so you working through anxiety, you working through, obstacles in your way, that's phenomenal. And I'm glad you share that, because I think everybody can relate to that in some way or another. I mean, I remember, simple as it is, starting my first job and thinking, I wanted to be my best, and, I didn't want to mess up. And, we push through little things like that, or big moves for people, leaving a city they know and going somewhere else is huge, you know. So all of us face those type of things in our life, and I just appreciate you sharing that, because that just brings, I don't know, I think it just brings a realness. And that's one thing that both my wife and I can say from a friendship perspective, that that's what we really value about both you and your husband Chad. You bring a life aspect to yourselves and people that are around you, you know, and we just value that. And I think that's one of the things that I think really speak well of both your character, is that's your approach. You're never too busy to help someone with a machine or help someone along with something. You guys are always there, and that's just a huge character trait to have there. And so that's incredible. So I keep sidetracking us here because I like some of the points you're saying. I just want to emphasize that for our listeners too, because I think we can relate to that kind of stuff. So you're on the stage. I mean, incredible.
Yeah, it was surreal. It was unreal. We had a morning show, and then you have to come back later for an evening show. So it was pretty amazing. Amazing just to be around some of the top pros that I've looked up to,
Yes.
or I see from the world. So for me to see some of them, and I still get goo goo gaga over some of them, and I like to go up and introduce myself and get pictures with them too, even though we're all pros. But
Yeah.
to me, I like that aspect too, is that no matter who you are, you always look up to somebody too.
Yeah.
You know, like anybody. We
Yeah.
all have people we look up to, but then you realize
Absolutely.
there's people that look up to us too.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. So talk about okay, where did you place? Yeah, you said there was 28 in the world.
Yeah, after 15 they don't place you, so I didn't make the top
Okay.
15.
Okay.
I mean, it was tough. It was my first Olympia. You're
Yes.
against the top in the world. So they don't even place after 15.
Okay.
So, and you know what? That was my first time there,
Yeah.
and that was fine with me. It was
The
just
experience
to
of,
make
like
it
you
better.
said before, the experience of being there is already a statement of all statements, and so that's incredible. You want to go back sometime?
I'd like to.
Yeah?
I'm hoping within this year Chad's competing, so I'm not, obviously. I'm
Yeah.
taking a break. So I don't know what next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a new show The Rock's putting out.
Okay.
So, and you have to be an IFBB Pro affiliated to
Right,
do his show.
yeah, that's right,
So
yeah.
he's supposed to be putting out a show. So I don't know what qualifications you need to
Yeah.
go to his show being a pro.
Yep.
So I wouldn't mind looking into that, and maybe I'll come out and do that show. But we'll see. I do want to maybe try and make it back to Olympia if I can. I
Yeah.
know it's hard. It's very tough. But I would like to do that before I'm 50, or when I am 50, which
Yeah.
is in a couple of years.
Yep.
So kind of around 50, I'm kind of thinking that would be my maybe last year of competing, and
Yeah.
call her done, because I have been competing for a very long time now. So, but I'm always going to work out because of the health and wellness aspect. And to me, that's huge to have healthy heart and lungs, which I know my doctors will say, oh, your heart and lungs are like a 20-year-old. And to me, just to have them keep saying that, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's my goal, is to be a healthy senior citizen. So to
Yeah.
me, that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. You betcha. Let's talk about your gym a little bit. You know, what is it? 3 years now?
2.5.
2.5
yeah.
years. Yeah. How are you feeling? You've shared a bit that it was probably really stressful. Have things shifted a little bit? Are you out of the woodwork?
It's running now.
It's right.
It's running smoother.
Yeah.
So I think it's better, because I mean the first year was still stressful, because you
Oh,
have
yeah.
a lot of bumps and hiccups, you know. And it was our first business adventure. We've never owned a business in our life.
Yeah.
And then still, we always work a full-time job. So on top of that, it's almost like you're working 2 jobs.
For sure.
So it is very demanding and can be stressful. But now, like, we do have a phenomenal group of good friends that always watch out for the gym
Yeah.
too. Being in a small community, that's one thing we like about the community, is people watch out for your business.
Mm-hmm.
And they let you know little things here and there to help you out, which is great. So we can't thank all of our friends out there that watch out for the gym, and a lot of people that love it.
Yes.
You know, they do watch out for it just because they love the gym.
Yeah.
And they appreciate what we brought to Estevan, because
Yes.
Estevan's never had, I call it a real big city gym before.
And that,
So-
what I would say, is a big city gym.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
your
it's the first.
your first walk in is just, it's incredible, because you have so many different machines. One thing, and I've appreciated, and I've told Chad this before too, and I think I've mentioned it to you, that it makes a difference when you have people that are in the sport setting up a gym. It's not just having a machine there, but because of your experience and your lifestyle in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, you know what works, and you have available things that are necessary, and not only that, but I've mentioned this before, you always give people opportunity. You guys are willing to help, and if someone has a question, and I think that's a great foundation of all that. I think it's just great, and you've expanded different things, and you keep adding different things, and now you have some tanning beds that you've also put in place, and that's a new thing as well.
Yeah, and that's, to us, is huge too, is that, yeah, we do have the vast knowledge and experience, because for me now it's been almost 30 years that I've been doing it, and I've lived across, different provinces, and also just traveling across Canada and US. And every time we travel or I go to shows, we're always working out at different gyms. And just that I have how many friends that own gyms, or I have how many friends that work in gyms. So anybody, I have pro friends all around the world that work in gyms, own gyms. So I mean, just having that knowledge and that I can reach out to people for things, it's huge. So when you're on top of the fitness industry, it's big to have that kind of knowledge and friends, because you're always helping each other and you're learning things. So we made our gym what we thought would be a good atmosphere for anybody. Like, you don't have to be a competitor or anything. It's for you just to get into fitness for your own health and well-being, and that's a big thing. So we wanted to make it friendly and non-intimidating, especially to me. I know the aspect, especially for women, when they walk in. Women can be so more intimidated. So we tried to make the entrance when you walk in non-intimidating. And so the way we also made private washrooms, we thought of that aspect too. You have to have private washrooms.
I noticed those are two things I noticed going in. Is, first of all, when you walk in, you don't walk into the weight room or the machines. It's almost like you're walking into an office type setting where there's couches and relaxed and things like that, and then you walk in the weight room. But yeah, I noticed too, the washrooms are all private washrooms, not just mass washroom type idea, and I think those are all purpose things. I think you've done very well with that aspect.
Yeah, so we really thought it out. We planned it and thought it out. Just especially once it was 5 businesses, and once we knocked down all the walls, and we were going, okay, how do we make this? So from scratch, we had to put it in our head and think of our experiences and knowledge on how to build it, and also how to think of people. We just want any kind of person in there, and that's what most gyms are, is you want any person in there, because you want to reach out to people to, it's time for you to start thinking of yourself, get yourself, your mental health and well-being, get into fitness, because you should, for longevity on this earth.
That's right.
Your time is short on this earth. Why not try and make it a good time?
Absolutely.
And try and get into working out for yourself, so that you can have maybe a bit healthier, longer life on this earth. So
I think it was important too that you mentioned the fact that, because often the stigma is that's a bodybuilding gym, and it's not that. It encompasses so many things. That aspect is definitely there, but you have an area for lots of cardio area, and to do circuit stuff, and it's just a wide range of stuff. I think you've articulated it very well, and if I can help break that stigma of it's just a bodybuilding gym, it isn't. And I've noticed too, going in there's people from all different levels. From totally beginner and wanting to lose weight, a couple of pounds off, or just get their cardio or anything like that. It's such a diverse place, and you see people from all over. And what I like about it too is you because you have people in different places, there's always opportunity to learn and do something different and learn from the next person over there, and that's what I find. It's very warm atmosphere there at all. You guys done a really good job. I have to say, you've done and the fact that it's 24 hours.
Yeah, thanks. Yes,
that's a huge part of it, because given our culture in our city where people work shift work and things like that, you're not tied to a certain time frame. hit the key card and in you go, and you know you can 24 hours. No matter what goes on, it's always happening. And I know you have staff hours too. There's staff hours, and if people, if they have any questions or you want to try it out or things like that. I mean, what we can do is we can attach your web link and your Facebook link to our listeners when they're listening to this, that they just want to take a look and whatever else, and we'd love to provide that too, and just give you opportunity to have some publicity about what you guys, because it's incredible what you guys are doing, what you've done, and I think you guys deserve not only a pat on the back, but you've really accomplished some big things, and I hope it just continues to do better and better and better, and add more things and do this. And I'm excited to be part of it. I really am.
Oh, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was stressful doing it, but now we do have incredible staff too. People can come in, do a drop-in, take a tour if they want, sign up. So we do have that available, and our hours are listed on the website, Facebook page, and Instagram page too. So
the different things they can join, 1 month to 3 months to a year to whatever. It's all
and like it is for anybody. It's a gym, fitness center for anybody. Doesn't matter what kind of like you said, you're beginner to advanced. Doesn't matter where you are. It's for anyone, and that's the biggest thing. It's for anybody that is trying to better themselves for health and wellness, and that's the whole thing. Is that mentally, it does help you mentally.
Absolutely,
to go to a gym, and we can't stress that enough. Like for people's mental health, even start getting fit, because it does help.
Yep, I agree. I'd like to look at it, you know, God has created us uniquely, and we have the privilege to look after what He's given, and we want to, you know, make the best of it and do that. That is awesome. Anything that you would do different?
Not really. Not that I could think of. I think, like you said, we have expanded. We have brought even different machines in. Cardio. We do have a huge cardio area, our turf area.
Yes.
I mean, we have swapped out some machines already, even for 2.5 years being open. We've brought in more, swapped things out, brought in tanning beds. So we're hoping down the road, we'd like to get supplements going. That'll be our next venture down the road.
And I think that's exciting, because you're in the gym anyway, and you know, you provide that service as well. I think it's great. I think it's neat. Another avenue to serve the community. I am a believer in serving the community. I love the community we're in, and I just love to see other people the same vision, to give people opportunity to set their goals and reach them and go beyond.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have a lot of hardworking people in this town, and a lot of shift workers. That's why we had to make it a 24-hour gym, because you want to give those people the opportunity to go when they want to go. And nothing affects people worse than makes them stressed out is when they go to a gym, and because of their schedule, they're like, oh, they look at their watch and like, oh no, it's closing in 45 minutes, and then they get stressed out. I don't like to create stress. I want people to go there and be stress free, and to be able to go on their schedule when they want, and to know that you're never under any stress, because it never closes.
And the atmosphere isn't that either. Like I like your lobby area. You walk in, you can sit on the couches, relax, and you know, and you know, go at your own pace. And I think it's a huge asset for Estevan, and it's been said already, to have a big city gym in a small city. I think that's pretty incredible, and I just thank you for investing in Estevan and chasing after your dream. I think that's a powerful story that we can all learn from, and say, hey, let's not let our limitations hold us back. Let's push through some of the things. Let's chase our dreams. I think one of the hardest things is for people to believe in themselves enough to make the sacrifice and to actually push for their dreams. And I just want to encourage you. Life is, like you said, life's short. Let's dream.
Yeah,
let's dream big.
I agree.
And let's take life by, you know, the horns, and let's make the most of it. I just think that's just something that, it's just incredible.
And I also am a true believer in anyone can do it.
Yes.
But you have to want to do it. That's the
biggest thing. It doesn't come by itself.
You have to want to do it.
No matter how long I stare at the weights, nothing happens until I actually lift them.
Yes. Absolutely.
It'd be nice just to stare at the weights and go, oh, that's nice. You know, I'll do it for a few more minutes and then I get results, right? We live in an instant world. We want things so quick, right? And we, you know, and so, I mean, stuff that's valuable and important, I don't think just happens right away. It's discipline and pursuing.
And patience.
Patience is a big one. I'm I struggle with patience. I just want it now and don't want all the effort, and that's so part of it all. And with anything in life,
Yes.
anything in life. So this has been great, CeaAnna. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time on your schedule and come in and give us some of your time and your stories and things like that. So thank you so much for being part of our show, and look forward to connecting with you and being a part of what new things are going on and stuff like that in your life and in the gym and that kind of stuff. So thank you again so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been great. I've enjoyed it.
Yes, it's been fun. Thank you again.
Thanks a lot.
All right.